social distancing. Look at all these open pews up here. All right? So some of you cluttered back there. Come on. Filter up here. Let's go. Remember, you might have to move from your regular pew to offer a little bit of social distancing. Okay? All right. There we go. Much better. Thank you. Thank you. This side isn't quite as bad. Okay, not everyone move though, because then we're not practicing social distancing. Well, you don't have to distance from Dale.
Maybe you might. That was on Facebook.
Okay.
These are the days of the harvest. The fields are as wide as the world, and we are your laborers in your vineyard, declaring the word of the Lord. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun, and the trumpet calls. So lift your voice, it's the year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes.
Don was on point with that song right there. Or music group was on point with that song right now. Good choice for this morning. Welcome to worship today. Your pink insert isn't going to do you much good. This will be our last in-person worship this month. We are going to be switching to online worship for the next 2 weeks, reevaluating as that time goes on. That includes canceling all events that would be held in the church and all small groups that would be held in the church. Kind of just a church in-person shutdown for a couple of weeks. The bishop recommended this at 7:47 last night for this morning, and I needed to worship with you this morning before we switch to a virtual worship. I have to really prepare myself to talk to an empty room. So, ouch! But here's something really exciting that I'm really excited about. When the room is empty and my kids are running around and we're live streaming, they can be seen in the video now. Woo! So I'm super excited about that next week. So this morning I do ask that you practice some good social distancing. So, spread out. Thank you for spreading out a little bit. No handshakes, no hugs. Greet each other with a nice wave, peace sign, namaste, curtsy and a bow. Brian's is the thingy, the Star Trek, live long and prosper, whatever it might be. Also, at the end of service today, we are not going to join hands, but I do invite you to turn and look into someone's eyes. that is so much more intimate than holding hands. Okay, so some of you are going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to stare at your nose. But I'm going to invite you to do that this morning. There won't be any fellowship time this morning. Again, we're just trying to limit social contact, trying to flatten that curve, make sure we're keeping everyone healthy and safe. Let's see. So online worship, the 22nd and the 29th. You're also getting online worship this morning, so if you feel the need to leave, you can turn us on your cell phone as well. There's no jam today. There will be no youth group on the 18th and 25th. No UMW on the 30th. No paper rolling this month. I don't know when you're supposed to be meeting, so it just got put as paper rolling. Mission and ministry, we are going to postpone till April 16th. And we're actually going to do a joint mission and ministry and ad board meeting on April 16th. Just to.
Hey, and I got a sister meeting with him.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks.
If you are missing us over these next couple weeks, Thursday Thoughts will still be happening, so check those out. Sunday worships will be on there as well. Also, you can go back and watch old Sunday worships or old Thursday Thoughts. And we'll try and do some fun stuff in our online community as well. So you might get an email that says, it's a hymn sing Sunday. Send us a hymn and Brian will sing it. Doesn't that sound fun? Especially because it doesn't involve me singing it.
That's it. So one thing I think we need to keep in mind in these next couple weeks is that not all of our friends have access to Facebook and YouTube. So if you know one of those people, that would be, which we talked about last night, joining, a couple people together. Go to someone's house, bring your phone, so that they can worship as well. I don't know.
Yes, that's a wonderful idea. If you know of someone who doesn't have the internet connection or means to watch it, invite them to your house for Sunday morning. Small groups, small intimate gatherings like that are okay. So if you're both healthy and you want to invite them over to watch with you, that's a great idea. I suggested the Christopher Circle, and Brian goes, "Are we hosting?" I said, "No, we're going to be at worship." So,
that's okay. We're still going to come to your house. We can watch it there.
you can use the TV. You have a key. Let yourself in. There's usually food in the fridge. I'm trying. I feel so. I want to give you more announcements, but I don't have any calendar to read to you or. So let's social distance greet each other this morning, okay? So you may stand and turn and wave or even talk to people, but try and offer some space.
I must show you, Dale.
What a
I'm
beautiful
wearing my
necklace.
beautiful
Well,
necklace.
isn't that nice?
It picks up on all those colors.
You make me feel really good.
Did you have a good birthday week?
Look good. It does.
Yeah. You had a good week last week. Your birthday week last week. Another one on the right side of the grass, right? Did you really? Oh. Thank you. Okay, let's talk about it. I thought about you. Morning, Tony.
And I did watch
These are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of your servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And these are the days of great trials, the famine and darkness and sword. Yes, we are the voice in the desert cry. days of the harvest. The fields are as wide in the world, and we are your laborers in your vineyard, declaring the word of the Lord. Behold, he comes, riding on the clouds, shining like the sun. At the trumpet call, so lift your voice, year of Jubilee, and out of Zion's hill salvation comes.
You'll join with me in our responsive call to worship today. I guess we're going to sit for our call to worship today on this side. Hey, comfortable is good. That's right. Right? There. Search my heart and search my soul. There's nothing else that I want more. Shine your light and show your face in my life, Lord. Have your way.
Hear my cry and hear my prayer. Draw me close, I know you're near. Give me strength and give me grace to walk with you, Lord, all my days.
So with all my heart and all my soul, with all I am, Lord, I will follow you.
So with all my heart and all my soul, with all I am, Lord, I will follow you.
Amen. You may be seated. I thought you were going to just say standing Dave and protest there. Now is the time in our service where we are able to join together as a family of God to weep with one another and to rejoice with one another. I invite your attention to the prayer corner on the back of our bulletin. I do have a couple to lift up from my own family. Both my grandma and my uncle are on here, Judy and Rob Shaw. Judy, we've been praying for through cancer treatments and was declared cancer-free on Thursday. So we're very excited about that. And yesterday, my uncle got on a plane for Antarctica. So he is cleared and good to go back to the pole. So he was excited to get out before he couldn't get out any longer. So thank you for the prayers for him as he had some tests ran back in the States. Others to lift up this morning, we want to make sure and we keep all of the world in our prayers right now as COVID-19 and this pandemic are taking place. We want to make sure we keep those doctors and nurses and staff in our prayers who are treating us during the midst of all of this. And we want to make sure we keep those who are making decisions, whether they be politicians making decisions, CDC making decisions, World Health Organization, or even if they're just business owners trying to figure things out. I know that all the businesses have tried to put out plans and come up with policies and ways to keep not only the general public safe, but their employees safe as well. So anybody just having to make decisions during these times, we appreciate if you would keep in your prayers. Other prayer requests to lift up this morning or joys to share. Marcia, is that your hand? Okay. Marcia. Okay.
Our niece,
Della. Okay, so we want to keep Della in our prayers. Just a couple months old, struggling with RSV. I don't know if he just came out too. RSV, and we want to make sure we keep parents and family in our prayers during this scary time. Others, you had another joy.
Boxing Warriors.
Did they win something?
Sports!
Boys, girls? Boys. So, yay, Waxy Warriors on winning state? Winning state.
First time winning. They've been there 7 or 8 times, but first time for a win.
Oh, well, way to be persistent and keep getting back there. So congratulations to those Waxy Warriors. So prayers as the process of getting verified for a foreign exchange student. Did you get to have your meeting on Monday?
Well, they got moved around all week and we had it Friday.
Okay. So prayers as that process takes place and as everything else in the world might be affecting that as well.
They need
2 more homes. Yeah, they asked me and I said, I have a really legitimate excuse though. I just adopted 2 kids. So, and she's like, are you sure? So if you're interested in hosting a foreign exchange student, talk with Rose or Ben Martin. They can share some information with you. Others this morning, joys or concerns today? Brian.
Well, Joy, we got our adoption decree in the mail this week. So we can take our things and start, well, I think we're just making birth certificates now.
Yes.
And we can go get our names on paper and, social security card and all that stuff. So
Yes. It's official. Has a court seal on it.
Another joy.
Oh.
I sold the old car.
Is that a joy, honey?
No.
Brian has mixed emotions. We sold his car that he bought in his senior year of high school.
But he hasn't got our parking bill.
Yeah, right. That's right. Any other joys or concerns this morning? Megan.
So a joy, last week we had state archery and our middle school team ended up taking 3rd place, so they qualified for nationals. So Andrew is part of that team and we'll get to take a trip to Louisville again, 3rd year in a row. And now let's just all hope everything gets figured out, fingers crossed, they're able to have it. When that happens, luckily it doesn't happen until May, 1st or 2nd week of May, so hopefully this will be a little more under handle, I guess would be the proper way to say it. So the joy and
Concern.
pray that we can keep it.
Yeah. So what wonderful news that the middle school archery team took 3rd at state and will be making a trip to nationals again this year.
The concern is that they're not.
That is a concern.
Well, in our parenting defense, the year she made it on her own, she got a weekend trip with just mom and dad. Last year they both qualified, so we all went. This year Andrew was the only one, so he gets a weekend mom and dad trip, and she's taking it hard. So if anybody would like a moody teenager, let me know. I have one.
We'll take her.
We'll take her too.
We'll take her.
All right, lots of offers for Lily.
Yeah, we'll take her.
You have red hair like Ariel, so that's all that matters in our lives.
But you'll never get to be Ursula, I'm sorry.
Where have we seen God in our community and our congregation this week? We're big Mr. Rogers fans in our house, and Mr. Rogers' mom always told him to look for the helpers. That when something terrible was going on in the world, to look for the helpers. So where have you seen helpers this week amidst the craziness of our world right now? Carrie.
Dale Reber took Carter to you and I, was Monday to see the Japanese drummers.
Oh.
And Carter really enjoyed it and got lunch at Culver's and kind of missed a half day of school.
And Dale Reber's special trip with Carter to see, I heard they were amazing. I heard lots of good things about the Japanese drummers that you and I. So wonderful. Others this morning, where have you seen God? Where have you seen helpers? And Dale and Deb helping with getting Jean here each week to worship with us.
Well, I rolled with Dale and Deb. And I ended up Wednesday, you had all kinds of stuff going going on at your house, and Wednesday I felt fine, and all of a sudden, yeah, right before youth group, I did not feel fine, and you did not want me here. I messaged, Felicia and Dale, and I said, I am so sorry, I cannot be there, you do not want me there, and Dale says, Deb can come and help us corral the kids. Stay home and take care of your stuff, so.
And stepping up when others are sick, yes.
Especially unexpectedly.
Brian, did I see your?
Yeah, well, last Sunday I come out of my house after I got Alex and the kids down for a nap to go down to Dave and Glenda's to get my car. When I come out, there was the Webbers and Dave pushing my car down the street. So the helpers. Yeah, with the bumper of his car. It did not impact my my selling value of it though, so it's okay.
And wonderful neighbors, yes. Others.
If you're looking for free parking over the wintertime.
It's not free, Brian.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was sick this week and I had to cancel a meeting with Marion this week, and then the next day in the mail I got a wonderful feel better card from her, and that made me feel better because I was not feeling better, and it just brightened my day. So I think those little acts of kindness that are going to be so important in these weeks ahead. Bill.
Last Tuesday afternoon after lunch, I was watching my favorite show from Nashville, and it's normally all men. It's like a band, singers, guitar players, but they had one of the daughters of one of the stars was on, and she sang the song "In the Arms of the Angel." And it just happened that it was on the same day as a very tragic accident occurred, and one of the former members of our community, and 3 children. So I thought that was spirit working.
And that's a perfect song at the perfect time. Thank you for sharing, Bill. Let us continue in a spirit and attitude of prayer. We'll have a moment of silent prayer. Then I will lead us in prayer. Then we'll join together in the Lord's Prayer. I'm going to kneel at the altar. Distance yourself from me, but feel free to join me. God of grace and God of glory. We are living in uncertain times. We are living amongst much anxiety and fear. But we're also living amongst much love and care. Help us, oh God, to be the ones offering love and care. To carry your peace inside of us during these times, that others might feel a sense of calm by our presence. Help us to remember each other, to offer grace, to be patient with each other, to reach out to each other. Help us to be intentional about forming your community in the days ahead when we won't all be here in this sacred space. Help us to create these sacred conversations, these sacred spaces in our homes, in the cards we mail, and the phone calls we make. Good and gracious God, wherever your presence is, that is a holy place. Wherever your people are, there you will be also. So hear our prayers this morning, prayers for those that are planted before us, for those that we have spoken aloud, and for those that are heavy on our hearts, too difficult, too painful to utter aloud. Let your presence permeate our beings and our world. Just as your Son came amongst us, remind us that your Spirit is amongst us today. For we pray in your Son's name as he taught us to, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. You would join with me in singing the church's One Foundation. It's number 545 in the red hymnal in your pew. You may stay seated while we sing.
She is his new creation.
Our scripture reading this morning continues us in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 12, and we're actually just going to be verses 1 through 12 today. 13 through 17 is part of the optional reading with the narrative lectionary, and well, we're going to opt not to do it. Chapter 12. Then Jesus began to speak to them in parables. A man planted a vineyard, put a fence around it, dug a pit for the winepress, and built a watchtower. Then he leased it to tenants and went to another country. When the season came, he sent a slave to the tenants to collect from them his share of the produce of the vineyard. But they seized him and beat him and sent him away empty-handed. And again he sent another slave to them. This one they beat over the head and insulted. Then he sent another, and that one they killed. And so it was with many others. Some they beat, and others they killed. He had still one other, a beloved son. Finally he sent him to them, saying, "They will respect my son." But those tenants said to one another, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance will be ours." So they seized him, killed him, and threw him out of the vineyard. What then will the owner of the vineyard do? He will come and destroy the tenants and give the vineyard to others. Have you not read this scripture? The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. This was the Lord's doing, and it is amazing in our eyes. When they realized that Jesus had told this parable against them, they wanted to arrest him, but they feared the crowd. So they left him and went away. The word of the Lord to the people of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
But my mouth has done a very bad job of making that known to you. I've never actually used the word sin in my last two sermons. So obviously, my mouth and my mind, they're not tied at the moment. So I want us to step back. We are looking at what is commonly referred to as the 7 deadly sins during Lent. However, we're looking at 6 of them and now kind of 5 of them because of how many weeks we have. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. James and Brian are working together back there, and it's just...
Which way?
It's kind of tipped down a little bit. You know.
Now we're not set yet. Hang on.
They're trying to get... So we have the YouTube going on the video camera, and we have Facebook going on Brian's phone. And they're trying to get Brian's phone lined up so that you can see.
Strut.
Hey, you are live on there.
I didn't say anything bad. We'll just zoom out. I had it. I don't know why I messed with
the
it.
comedy that's going to come in the next 2 weeks. And Pastor Alex and Ryan's
What do you expect when you ask for free labor?
Okay, so we are talking commonly referred to as the 7 deadly sins. So some of those sins that you might have heard of. Name a deadly sin. Do you know any?
Gluttony.
Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, pride. Oh, not quite one. I'm not saying it's not a sin. So, sloth, what did we say? Sloth, greed, gluttony,
Lust?
pride, lust.
Jealousy? No, that's lust.
No, those are two different. Those are two different ones, aren't they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I should look at my notes, right? That would help us. But, so we're looking at the 7 deadly sins. Now, how would you define sin? This is my last chance to have you interact with me, so I'm going to eat it up. So how would you define sin if you were to define it? What has it been taught to you guys? Maybe it's not even your definition. Okay.
When I was 12 years old, when I was in catechism class, sin is any lack of conformity unto or transgression of the law of God.
Okay.
That's sin.
That is
That's Presbyterian.
that is a very,
United.
you remember that when you were 12?
Yeah.
Wow. They taught information so much better than I do. Who else? What are the definitions of sin?
I was raised Baptist, we didn't sin.
Amen.
Oh my goodness. And this is why you don't ask questions of the congregation. Obviously that's changed. Oh my gosh, Carter. Oh. Okay, before we get any more derailed. Back on track here. Okay, so my understanding of sin that I preach from, that over the last 2 weeks I have been preaching from, is this. Sin is anything that separates us from God and neighbor. Sin is anything that separates us from God and neighbor. Okay, so examples. Last week we talked about pride, right? So pride is a sin. This is a word I missed last week, so I'm sorry, John. Pride is a sin because pride separates us from neighbor. If we think about Scar in The Lion King, which was our example last week, when Scar was power hungry and mad, he was separated from his family, he was separated from the rest of the Pride land. He was in power and control, but he was not in right relationship, in good relationship with the rest of the community. Pride is also something that separates us from God. Because if we are not in good relationship with God's children, we are actually not in good relationship with God either. The two are interconnected. Sloth, okay, if we go back 2 weeks to when we were talking about sloth, sloth is a sin, and we were talking about what is commonly referred to as the rich young ruler. Stay on point, stay focused. I'm not going to talk to you why I don't like that title. We're going to talk about that another day. So the rich young ruler, we talked about how he had to give up everything, sell everything, give away the money, and come and follow Jesus. And we talked about maybe the reason he didn't want to do that was because that's a lot of work. To give up who you are is a lot of work. So in that instance, his sloth, his laziness of not wanting to do that hard work, prevented him from following God. That was getting in the way between him and God. That is a sin. Anything that separates us from God or neighbor, anything that breaks relationship between us and God or us and neighbor. That is what my working definition of sin is. So, and I say it's a working definition because I think we're always learning and growing and exploring what sin means. So if we look at our story today, there are tenants who are renting a property in a parable. Okay? So these tenants, they want all of the money for themselves, all of the proceeds for themselves. They don't want to give any back to the owner, to the person who has built this land and bought this land. And so their greed causes them to hurt and kill numerous people in order to keep that for themselves. So their sin, first off, if you're killing someone, you're probably not in the right relationship with them. Just a guess. And if you're killing someone, we go back to the laws that Bill talked about, right? Thou shalt not murder, right? That is one of those 10 commandments. That is affecting your relationship with God as well. Their root cause here was greed. The root cause of this act was greed. Greed was the sin that caused them to sin even more. And I think the same can be said of all of the sins that we're going to be talking about. I think the same can be said of laziness. Okay? So, sometimes I just don't want to do stuff. Right? Sometimes you probably don't want to do stuff either. And I am pretty good at coming up with what I consider a legitimate reason to not do stuff. You know, and in all reality, it's probably not that legitimate. It's just, I was lazy and I didn't want to do it. And most of the time, these actions involve other people. Like, I just really don't want to go out tonight. I know we haven't seen these people in months and that we should, you know, connect and work on our relationship, but I just want to stay home in my pajamas. Even though our relationship is hurting, and I know that our relationship needs strengthened with whoever these people might be, that sin of laziness has caused me to hurt a relationship that I should be building and growing. Pride, I can think of so many things. Pride frequently causes us to lie because we don't want to admit that we were wrong. We don't want to admit that we messed up. So the underlying sin of pride then leads to lying as well, and lying always hurts relationships. Sin is anything that comes between us and God or us and neighbor. So what we talked about over the last couple of weeks and what we're going to be talking about going forward are those actions in our lives that come between us and God and us and neighbor, and how we need to eliminate those actions and instead find ways to strengthen our relationship with God and our relationship with neighbor. Because if sin is hurting those relationships, the opposite of sin would be building those relationships. So, if we think about last week and pride, we talked about pride as hurting relationships, as putting oneself in front of everything, and the desire for power and control and status above everything else hurts our relationship with God and others. So the opposite of that was turning and looking at how do we care for the pride? How do we care for the family? So we went from pride as thinking only of ourselves and our needs and our wants and our desires to instead working on building relationships. How can we care for the pride, the family? That's the opposite of sin, is building those relationships with God and with neighbor. And I really struggled with what we were going to talk about this morning. There's so much going on in our world, and was this the sermon to preach this morning? Should I offer something a little more comforting this morning? Should we talk about what's going on in our world? Should we talk about trusting in God? What should we talk about this morning? And I spent so much time repeatedly praying, God, give me the words. God, give me the words. And then I go and I hear from my clergy friends that say, all right, I'm scrapping my sermon, this is the way we're going. I'm scrapping my sermon, this is the way we're going. I'm scrapping my sermon, this is the way we're going. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to scrap this. Maybe we need to do something else. But over and over again, I felt called to this, to talking about sin, over and over. And the more that I prayed about it, and the more that I contemplated it, the more I realized that this is exactly what we need at this time. At a time when our relationships are being tested, when our communities are having so much pressure put on them, when there might not be in-person gatherings for a while, at a time when people are stocking up on toilet paper and nobody has any. I buy by the case. I know Dale does too. So if you need toilet paper, come to Dale. Right? We have cases in our basement. $5 a roll. And a donation to the church, Dale. So sin is what we need to be talking about, because we need to be doing the opposite so intentionally right now. We need to be building relationships right now. We need to be caring for each other right now. And we need to be finding ways to do that amidst the ever-changing landscape. We need to find ways to do that when we can't be with each other in person. We have wonderful card people in our congregation. Christy Mount sends cards, Marion sends cards, Arla sends cards, Tony sends cards, Sandy sends cards. We have wonderful card people. This is a wonderful time to reach out to people with cards when you can't see them in person. This is a wonderful time to call people on the phone like the old-fashioned way. I can remember in 7th and 8th grade, so just a little younger than you, and three-way calling was the greatest invention in the world. I can remember me and Amanda and Paul being on the phone until my mom was like, you need to go to bed. And then we try and still sneak another phone call in, right? Felicia knows what I'm talking about here. Kids these days are missing out. Okay? Call people, three-way calling, or FaceTime. You can still see each other. Find ways to connect. You have an elderly neighbor, offer to do their grocery shopping. They are one of the most at-risk populations right now for COVID-19. Offer to go get them groceries so they don't have to go out and put themselves at risk. If you know of a family who maybe is laid off work for this time because their company is shutting down, or possibly their kids are going to be home for an extended period of time soon, take them a casserole. Take them some cereal and some milk. A lot of kids being home, food is a lot of the expense. And sometimes people are living paycheck to paycheck and they're counting on 2 meals a day at that school. And when they don't get that anymore, this is a time where we can build those relationships, where we can do the opposite of sinning and really build the relationships. Or if you know of a mom or a dad who's stuck at home with their children for 2 weeks straight, offer to just let them go out for a walk and you just hang with their kids. They're going to need a break. Trust me, they're going to need a break. We'll just take kids for a day. There you go. This is a time where we need to be so intentional on not sinning. Hey, let me back up. I got an email from a bakery that I love. The email said, here's what we're going to do amidst COVID-19. We're going to make sure we wash our hands. Because you don't already? Okay, so we should already be focusing on not sinning, okay? We should already be focusing on that. It's just time to step our game up, okay? So instead of focusing on not sinning every 5 minutes, let's focus on not sinning every 2.5 minutes, okay? Let's just step our game up, okay? We should already be focusing on that. So I want you to think this week, amidst the insaneness of the world right now, amidst the fear, amidst the uncertainty, how are you going to intentionally not sin? How are you going to intentionally build relationships with God and me? And it can't be something you already do because we're stepping our game up. Remember, we're stepping our game up. That is, I think, what we need right now in this time. I want you to feel comforted. I want you to know that it's all going to be okay, that we will all figure this out together. But I also want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to focus hard on not sinning, to find ways to intentionally build relationships, because relationships are what is going to get us through. I'm going to invite the choir to sing.
Chose this song, I thought, really not super appropriate for Lent, although, those songs are very appropriate for general times of the year. But going through what we're going through now, it's very appropriate.
celebrating the sacrament of Holy Communion this morning, I'm gonna not say that because I'm not Baptist. So we will celebrate the sacrament again soon, and who knows, to make up for missing, maybe we're going to do it every week of April. No, actually it's pretty close because we have the first Sunday, which is always Communion Sunday, and the second Sunday is Easter, and we always celebrate Communion on Easter, and the third Sunday, we celebrate Communion. So really, we're going to get 3 weeks in a row as soon as we come back, so I am excited for that. There is an offering plate in the back of the sanctuary today if you would like to deposit your offering, and that's when you leave. Just a note about offering, you can still send in offerings during this closure if you are a person who regularly puts in the plate every week. If you mail them to the church, Joanne Johnson, who is our treasurer, amazing treasurer, does so much work. She will get them, she'll get them deposited in the church account so that our church can still operate. Also, you're welcome to switch to automated giving. Brian and I switched to automated giving this year. This is the first time we've ever done it, mainly because I kept having to ask Deb, how far am I behind? Can I look at my statement? I think I forgot a check last week, or I wrote this check 3 weeks ago and found it in my purse. I think it's for the church. So we switched to automated giving. It was really easy, and it comes out, we do weekly, comes out every Monday from my account. I don't even have to worry about it. I know that the church is getting its 10%. So if you would like that form, let myself or Kayla know. Just shoot the office an email, and we will give you that form so you too can sign up for our auto giving. If you have any questions about giving during this time, or your financial statement, or anything like that, you can talk with Joanne Johnson about giving during this time, or with Deb Reaver, our awesome financial secretary, who would be happy to tell you where you're at in reference to your pledge, or when we come back in a couple of weeks in person, she'd be happy to give you an update then as well. I'm going to invite our children forward this morning. You got both the real one? Yes, just take one, baby. Hey, here we go. Okay, let's sit down, Laura. Good job. Okay, there we go. I look at you, you weren't touching me. How are you? I know, buddy, it's empty. I'm sorry.
He hasn't had any snacks.
Bible, yes. How are you all today? Good. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, well, I see you have a question? Okay. You want to use either mic? Julian, hand on your belly, please.
What did they do with people who had leprosy?
Thank you for listening. Please put that
Is that
back.
how you pronounce it?
Yes, that is. Good job.
A, they quarantined them. B, invited them to a party. C, sent them to Jesus to be healed. D, sent them to colonies.
All right. You have an idea? Do you know the answer? The last one.
Yeah. Well, there's three.
There's 3 answers. Okay, so sent them to colonies.
And sent them to Jesus to be healed, and quarantined them by sending them to colonies.
Okay.
And then there's another one because we did 2 lessons.
Oh, okay, you did tree today.
What type of tree did
Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a wee little man, a wee little man was he.
Don't give away the answer.
Sycamore tree.
Oh, that was one of the answers are A, maple, B, pine, C, oak, D, none of the above.
Oh. None of the above.
This is every day of my life.
We're sorry we were bad multiple choice test
Raise
takers.
it direct.
But thank you for singing Zacchaeus, because I love that
John, where
song.
are you?
So, I'm going to ask you all to do something extra important. Can you listen and do this? Okay, are you listening? Yeah, are you listening? Okay, here's the extra important thing. I want you to be extra nice to your mommies and your daddies this week, okay? Can you do that? Can you be extra nice to your mommies and your daddies? Why? That's a very good question. You know, I am told that I should never ask a kiddo to do anything if I'm not willing to give them a reason. So here's my reason. Your mommies and daddies are having a really stressful time at work. Do you know what that means? It means hard. Stressful is kind of like hard. They're having a hard time at work. And they're having a hard time just in our world. And so if you could be extra nice to them, I know they would really appreciate that. Do you think you can do that? How can you be extra nice? Listening and doing what they ask you to do? Yeah. Do you know what else would be extra nice? Ooh, doing your chores without having to be asked. That's a really good one. Here's another one. Don't fight with your siblings.
That's gonna be
Okay, so to be extra nice, don't fight with your siblings. Got it? Practice social distancing from your siblings. Alright, I'm not going to get to see you for a few weeks. I'm going to be here, but you're going to be at home, maybe watching me on your computer or your tablet or your TV. Your dad watched on his phone last night, so you might get to watch with him next Sunday, okay?
I already watched with him.
Yeah? What did I say? Do you remember? No, because I go right here. I don't like my voice either. That is, I did see this morning, one of my pastor friends, they said, you have so much control when you worship online, you can mute the pastor. So, remember that. Take Leland's advice, just cover your ears. Alright, so I will see you all in a couple of weeks, okay? I'm going to miss you very much, and you're going to be extra nice to your parents, right?
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah, especially to your mommy, right? Yeah, because your mommy's with you all day, so especially to your mommy, okay? Alright, you may head back to your seats. We're going to sing the dance song. We're going to sing Lord of the Dance, number 261 in the red hymnal, if you would stand and join with us. begin our prayer for the week in unison. Son of God, you spoke words to Jerusalem's leaders that were hard to hear. Give us ears to receive your word of life so that we can follow you faithfully. Amen. Please turn and look. And make sure everyone has someone to look at.